we can see here, which creates a look of intense brightness. That looks cool. That's very nice. Okay. Now to sort of make this effect stand out, we need to treat the background. Normally X-rays, the only thing that you can see are the bones, everything else is black. You can see semi-transparent skin, but the bones are the thing that stands out. I want to show the background a little bit, because if we just made the background black, as I can do right now, I can fill the background and make it black, but it's going to look terrible because we've sort of defeated the purpose of match moving it. We've just got this crazy weird camera shake. If we can see the background, well, let me just keep that fill but set it to 50% and then duplicate the layer without a fill. We emphasize the X-ray, we emphasize the skeleton, but we can see that it's part of a match move and it makes sense to us instead of this crazy, yeah, you get the point. So I'm going to do something a little more fancy than just filling a layer with 50% black. So let's do some color correction to the footage, and I'll just call this the background. And let me add some levels to this. A combination of an X-ray and old looking footage. And something you find in old looking footage is the blacks aren't black. So we can sort of emulate that by doing this. This makes it far too bright, so we can come in, clamp this here, but we can see that nothing is black. The blackest parts are actually 19. We can see in the RGB values, they're all 19, the blackest bits. So that is looking good. I'll add a curves to sort of get a bit of a global green look by increasing the green a little bit and decreasing the blue. Is a cool green look that I'm after, sort of an army green look, and that's nice. Might add a little bit of a tint to sort of cull that green just a tiny bit, 20%. Okay, that looks cool. Now, here's a cool tip. If we duplicate the layer and call this background grain, one way we can sort of add grain to this just by using the footage itself is isolate the blue channel, because at least on my camera and most of your cameras, the blue channel gets the least amount of information stored to it and therefore has the most grain. So if we hit Alt 1, we can see the red channel, Alt 2 the green channel, Alt 3 the blue channel, and if we just compare them, the blue channel has the most grain, not by a lot, but it does have the most grain. So what we can do is to isolate the blue channel, just Alt click the button you click to get into it. So currently I'm viewing the alpha channel, Alt 4, so just hit Alt 4 again to get back to RGB, or just click here. So what I want to do is, so let's add a shift channels to this layer here, and I'd like to take the red from the blue, the green from the blue, and the blue from the blue. So we don't have any color in here, we just have the grain, and a cool way to sort of add that to the layer below it is to just add the luminance values, because the grain is in the luminance, we don't have any color values here. So if we just set this to luminosity, all we're getting is the grain. Me gusta. Let's add a another layer here, and I'll call this X-ray, and what I want to add to this lane is the classic and often cliched night vision effect, but we'll do this subtly, so don't worry. Add night vision. Oh, got a bit of an error here and it's crashed. Bye bye. Alright, we're back. Let's try that again. Hopefully I don't get a crash. What was I doing? Night vision. Let's add you. Cool, we got it. Okay, so Now, Minimax was the thing that was causing me to crash before, so I'll get rid of that. And I'll definitely get rid of the solid composite. And this is what we get. So what I'd like to do is sort of tone down the noise and play around with the width of these Venetian blinds here. I just want the most subtle of Venetian blinds. Something like that. That looks cool. Maybe a bit less feather. And maybe a bit less. I can barely tell between 2 and 3. Sorry, at 3 I can see them very clearly, but at 2 I can barely see them at all. So also play with the transition complete. Something like that. I can just see them. They look nice. And what I'll do is add, it sort of darken the whole scene. Might go to the levels here. Might actually the background grain, when we set the luminosity, it was actually a slightly darker because it was the blue channel. We can just add levels to this to sort of brighten it up a bit, because we're taking the luminosity from this layer here. Something like that. We sort of lessen the impact of the grain, but it's definitely still there. Really like this grain that we're getting, even though it's, you know, it's not film grain, it's tape grain, but we'll take what we can get. And one more thing I might do is actually add a directional blur, because it looks too clear. I know it's cliched to destroy the image so that anything you do will look fine on top of it, but I need to sort of make this footage distorted, because, you know, X-rays, it's an X-ray, and X-rays, you know, they're not crystal clear, they're all distorted and things like that, and also it's an old time look, it needs to look very blurry. So I'll add this to the background layer, and I'll set it to maybe 5 pixels going up. Can barely see that, maybe 10 pixels going up. Can barely see that at all. Let's just add that onto an adjustment layer. I'll call this one, actually we can just do it on the X-ray. I'll do that before the Venetian blinds. So we're getting a blur, but we're getting the Venetian blinds on top of that. So maybe less, maybe 5. And then I'll add a sapphire sharpen. If you don't have sapphire sharpen, just add a normal sharpen will do. So this is sort of what we get. Kind of looks like the HDR, default HDR effect, but a little bit cooler. Okay, I'm liking that. Let's just do a quick preview. Just do a quick playback. Looking nice. Something I might do is increase the blur just a bit, sort of make it a bit more blurry, and also darken the image. Third cliche today, vignette. I just need to darken the edges, sort of focus on the character. Sorry for all these cliches. So, vignette. My friends like to play Mafia, and we renamed the vigilante the Vig. So I like to call my vignette layers Vig. I think I'm going crazy. So let's really feather this out. I guess if you feather it enough, it's sort of doesn't really look like a vignette anymore. But that's definitely too much in the middle. You can sort of play with the transfer modes. Soft light is a good one. Sort of enables the highlights to come back. Another one that sort of Dave Scotland used was color burn, but it's looking a bit crazy going up there. I think I might use soft light on here, where I use soft light. I think what I might do with this vignette or the Vig is actually delete that mask. Let me add the rounded rectangular mask and sort of invert it, have it come in a little, something like that, and feather it. And I'll put this at the very top and have it feathered. Maybe not set it to soft light, maybe have it just like this. Something like that, so it sort of looks like they're looking through a device or something. And sort of get the darkness by changing the levels of the layer here. So I'll have this, maybe change the levels here for the luminosity. Have it darker but clamped, and sort of brighter at the same time. Maybe not. Something like that. When the character comes in, looks cool, and we can sort of see it's very flat. The transition, sorry, the scan line, when it comes down, it's very bright. I like to think that it's a light that's causing this, some sort of laser, but the skeleton itself is very dark around it. We need the skeleton to interact with the lighting here. So to do that, I might get a X-ray that doesn't have any ambient occlusion on it. It's quite bright. Set it to add, and just sort of alpha matte it where the scan line is. And to get that matte, we'll have to pull some string. We can maybe get the scan line matte here, put that into a new composition. Let's see. So could sort of do a choke on this layer, and use channel blur and blur the Z. Kind of looks the same. So that's what we're getting. We're just seeing the bits that have been revealed. Now this weird thing happens here, just to do with the choker. It sort of lingers on this part here, which would actually be really cool because that's sort of where his heart is, but you know, we're not seeing the heart. This is the skeleton, we've only got bones. So to get rid of that, I'm happy with the matte here, but when we get to the part where the heart is staying, we can keyframe the choke matte, try and get rid of it. Oh, but we're already at 100. 100 is max. So we could disable that keyframe there and add another matte, set it to 0 to start it around here at 0. We come forward. We want to get rid of it by now, so bring that up just as much as we need, which would appear to be around 58. We can see there's a little bit of red going on there, but its alpha values are only around 5 to 10. Choke this to maybe 65 to get rid of that a bit better. Okay, so this is the X-ray add. Actually, I'll call this the additive transition. And let's matte that to the scanline matte 2. I'll call this the additive matte. And put that into the source footage, which should be renamed main comp. Let us alpha matte this here, so it's only where the additive matte is, but unfortunately this one has all this red here, so we can just go back into the scanline matte and do a set matte to the red channel and have our matte and eat it too. So set matte to the red channel. Now we kind of lost a bit there. So it's because we really choked the matte, and now we only have the red channel as the matte. These two simple chokers are just cutting right away, so we can't do it there. We will have to do it maybe in here. Set the matte to the red channel. Okay, cool. Let's turn that off. And we are getting some weird stuff going on here. Nope, we're not. We're cool. So that looks good. The additive transition is sort of being lit up here. Now let me maybe make an adjustment to this always like